Millionaire pretends to be blind to test his girlfriend, but the chef's amazing love revealed all. The quaint town of Maplewood had always thrived on community spirit and strong values. But the day Jake Thompson chose to test his girlfriend Emily's love, it seemed the universe began to tilt off its axis. Can love survive a test of blindness? The headline screamed. And Jake, a 32-year-old millionaire businessman cloaked in the glossy veneer of success, was about to unravel a web of deceit that would challenge everything he thought he knew about love. Jake sat in the sunlit corner of Rainbow Eats, the town's beloved diner run by Maya, a beacon of hope and kindness. The aromas of fresh pancakes and sizzling bacon intertwined with the laughter of locals, but Jake felt an eerie disconnect. He had decided to go blind. Not physically blind, but emotionally an experiment to see if Emily's love was genuine. But with each passing day pretending to be without sight, he found himself grappling with the darkness of his own mind. Emily, once his vibrant muse, began withdrawing, her laughter fading into the distance. Each time she reached out, there was a flicker of confusion on her face. The warm, golden glow of their shared moments dimmed, replaced by a heavy silence that echoed in the diner. Jake could feel the pull of his deception. It weighed on his chest like an anvil. How did it come to this? He wondered, as Maya served another table, her infectious energy lifting the spirits of everyone around her. He watched her shine, amazed by her genuine spirit and how she rallied the community. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that is happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The wave of chaos crashed like thunder when a well-respected veteran chef collapsed during a charity event at the diner. Panic surged through the crowd. Maya, without a shred of hesitation, stepped into action, her voice cutting through the crowd, commanding presence as she led efforts to save him. For the first time, Jake felt an uncharacteristic stir within him. This blind facade of his world began to crack. Guided by instinct, he reacted, doing what he could to help, even without sight. Then, amidst the swirling chaos, Emily stormed into the diner, her eyes blazing with hurt and betrayal. There in front of a packed diner, she confronted him about the truth behind his charade. The air was thick with tension, each person holding their breath. "Jake," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Is this who you really are? Or just someone hiding behind a mask of deceit?" All eyes were on them. The community had gathered around their love, loyal, honest, and wrapped in a fierce sense of solidarity. With the chef collapsing and the truth hanging raw in the air, Jake was left to face himself. Would he reveal his true identity, or would Emily's anger shatter what was left of their once bright bond? The room pulsed with unspoken questions, hearts aching for resolution. As the moment lingered suspended in time, both of them standing at the precipice of what could either mend or break them forever. Jake's heart raced as the full weight of Emily's gaze bore into him. The diner, once filled with the comforting hum of conversation, had become a charged arena where his every thought echoed dangerously. The seconds stretched as everyone waited, eyes flickering between the couple and the fading chaos caused by the chef's collapse. "I'm sorry," Jake finally stuttered, the words feeling jagged as they passed his lips. He couldn't bear the look of disappointment on Emily's face. I thought I was testing our love, but I lost myself in it." Emily let out a shaky breath, caught between anger and disbelief. "You thought testing our love was better than talking to me? You care about my feelings so little that you pretend to be blind?" Her voice rose, and murmurs rippled through the crowd. But something had shifted in the very fabric of the moment. As Maya continued her efforts with the chef, a few brave souls began to turn their attention back to the heart of the unfolding drama, as if aware that this too was a battle for love. "Emily, you have to believe me. I've been running from the truth all along. I thought money bought me honesty," he confessed, the raw emotion spilling out. "But it only made everything darker. I thought this experiment would prove something to me, but it showed me how blind I truly am." Emily's expression softened for a brief beat, then hardened again. Jake, you didn't just blind yourself. You blinded me. The diner felt like it was holding its breath. Crumpled napkins and half-eaten plates littered the tables, witnesses to the heartbreaking exchange. Jake looked around, desperation flooding his veins. He pleaded with the crowd, I never wanted to hurt her. I wanted to be sure to know she loved me for me. The tension hung thick, yet in a moment that could only be described as serendipity, Maya re-entered the scene, having stabilized the chef. Her face was flushed, but her spirit remained unyielding. She crossed to Jake and Emily, breathing heavily. Sometimes love needs a little chaos to reveal itself, she declared, pausing to meet each of their gazes. But nobody should have to suffer to prove it. Jake felt a flicker of hope emerge in the dim light of uncertainty. Maya continued, what you need to do is face the fear of being vulnerable. We all make mistakes. It's not about the facade, it's about removing it. Emily's eyes flickered with an emotion he didn't quite recognize. Was it pity? Or something deeper? She turned away, taking a step back. Jake, how do I know this isn't just another performance? Jake swallowed hard, the lump in his throat feeling like the wall between them. She needed a sign, something real. Because I'm here without sight, just to ask you to truly see me now. The truth isn't pretty, but it's all I have. Can we rebuild our trust? The room held still, the weight of his words settling in the air. Would Emily take that leap of faith? Would she allow him the chance to fight for love? As Emily hesitated, torn between anger and hope, her eyes darted to the kitchen, where the chef had been revived, and his beloved team rallied behind him. Suddenly, a thought sparked in her mind. She pivoted, her heart racing, realizing she might be standing at a pivotal crossroads, one that could lead them down a path together or forever apart. But before she could voice her answer, the door swung open, revealing a stranger, someone who could change everything. The community stood on the brink of a revelation, waiting to see how this new chapter would unfold. Would the truth bring healing, or would it deepen the rift? The new arrival was a woman in her early 30s, with wild curly hair that seemed to dance around her. She wore a vibrant red coat, its brightness a stark contrast to the somber atmosphere of the diner. The stranger hesitated for a moment, her eyes scanning the crowd, before her gaze landed on Jake and Emily. Excuse me. Sorry for barging in, she said, her voice ringing with a happy but slightly nervous energy. I think I might be able to help. Jake felt a rush of confusion mingled with hope. Who was this woman? What could she possibly offer in this moment, this raw, fragile standoff between him and Emily? Emily's expression mirrored his disbelief, brows furrowing as she took a cautious step forward. Help with what? She questioned, skepticism lacing her tone. What could you possibly know about us? The woman took a deep breath, confidence spilling into her stance. I've spent years studying relationships, helping people connect when they feel lost. If you're both open to it, I'd love to share something that could shift your perspective. Great, Emily scoffed, crossing her arms. Just what we need, a stranger's insights. Wait, Jake interjected, his heart racing. What if she really can help us? If there's any chance, Jake, Emily cut in firmly, we're in the middle of something here. The stranger stepped closer, her eyes wide and sincere. I get it. It's a lot, but it sounds to me like both of you are searching for something deeper. Don't turn away from a chance to understand each other. Sometimes, we just need a different lens to see the truth. Jake felt a flicker of hope, though he knew he couldn't speak for Emily. He took a tentative step towards her. What are you offering? A chance to talk? To really talk? He leaned in, pouring everything he felt into those words. Yes, a dialogue sharing stories, real emotions. All of those things we've been holding back. It's about honesty, like you mentioned, she said, glancing at Emily. You've both been so wrapped in fear that all you see is the pain. But I believe there's something beautiful beneath it. The diner's crowd, now intrigued, leaned in, waiting for their next move. Emily looked at Jake, uncertainty weaving through her features. I don't know about this. Jake could feel the desperation in his chest tightening, but he also sensed the potential for redemption. If we don't take this chance, what are we left with? More assumptions? More walls? Do you really think this stranger holds the key to our trust? Emily whispered, both doubt and a glimmer of hope reflecting in her eyes. Maybe, Jake replied, his voice gentle but firm. Maybe this is how we begin to heal, to strip away the misunderstandings and fears. Emily remained silent, her heart racing as she wavered at the threshold of decision. Could she truly open up? Could they emerge from this together? As if sensing their hesitation, the stranger stepped forward, her warmth enveloping them both. Trust takes time, but it starts with a single moment of courage. Let us answer this crossroads together. Just then, a loud crash broke through the soft tension as a tray dropped in the corner of the diner, startling everyone. All eyes snapped in that direction, shifting the energy. Emily turned sharply. What now? The room buzzed with anticipation, on the edge of another unraveling. But the question lingered within her. Was she ready to join Jake on this unpredictable journey, or would fear drive them apart once and for all? The answer hung in the air, teetering on the brink of decision yet again. The tray had hit the floor with a shattering clamor, and for a heartbeat, silence followed. The moment felt electric, cutting through the air like a knife. Eyes darted, measuring the unfolding situation as a waitress rushed to clean up the mess. Jake shifted his focus back to Emily, whose eyes were now glued to the broken plates, tension wrapping around her shoulders. He could sense the weight of her uncertainty, and it made his heart ache. This was their moment, one that could either pull them closer together or tear them apart one last time. Emily, he whispered, trying to catch her gaze, maybe we need this more than we think. Her brow furrowed as she took a deep breath, glancing back at the stranger in the red coat. And what if this makes things worse? We won't know unless we try, he replied, feeling the heat of urgency rising. The strangers in the diner hung on their words, as if the outcome of this discussion would ripple beyond their little table. Look, I can't promise anything, the woman said softly, her tone empathetic. But I believe you both have a chance to mend what's broken. It's a risk, sure, but life is all about taking risks. Jake felt the tide of hope threatening to pull him under. He glanced at Emily, who was shifting her weight from foot to foot, clearly at war with herself. He reached out, brushing her hand with the tips of his fingers, a small act, but it carried years of memories. Please, he urged, let us talk. If we don't open up, we might regret this forever. Emily hesitated, her lips pressed together as she weighed every word spoken and unspoken. Jake held his breath, desperately willing her to see the truth behind their struggles, to feel the longing that still pulsed between them. I always wanted us to be better, Emily finally said, her voice trembling and raw. But I didn't know how to reach you, Jake, or if it was even possible. The stranger, sensing a breakthrough, stepped closer. Then let us find that connection. Start with the what-ifs. What if you could say all those things you left unsaid? Jake felt warmth wash over him, like the first sun of spring breaking through winter's chill. What if we could finally stop dancing around the truth and just face it? Emily's gaze flickered toward him, her walls slowly crumbling. What do you mean? What if he hesitated, gathering his courage? What if I told you I still love you, that I don't want to walk away? In that fragile silence, the diner felt like a secret world. Eyes shifted, breaths held, everyone leaning in, hoping for transformation. Jake, she started but faltered. The truth shimmered in the air between them, electric yet delicate, ready to shatter if they didn't grasp it. Just as she opened her mouth to speak again, the door swung open with a gust, drawing attention away from their defining moment. A familiar figure stepped inside, face looming with urgency, eyes searching for someone, anyone. Jake's heart dropped. It was Mark, Emily's brother. Emily, there you are? I've been looking everywhere for you. His voice cut through the networking silence like a siren. Jake felt a knot tighten in his stomach. What were the odds that this moment of vulnerability was interrupted? As Mark strode forward, a cloud of uncertainty descended. Emily's eyes darted from Jake to Mark, confusion swirling within her. I'm here. What's wrong? Jake sensed it again, the delicate balance unraveling. He could feel a wall building again, not from Emily, but from the chaos their lives often dragged with them. Could they truly make the leap when the past kept calling them back? As Jake watched her struggle, waiting for her response, he knew they were on the edge of something huge, something that might not wait for them to catch up. Would the strength of their love be enough to pull them through the noise ahead? Mark's footsteps echoed in the diner, pulling Emily further from the brink of acceptance. Jake watched her retreat, her heart slipping away like sand through fingers. The sudden shift in atmosphere felt heavy, each breath growing more difficult to take. Mark, calm down. What is it? She asked, her voice shaky, caught between frustration and concern. Mark stepped closer, his expression urgent. It's Mom. She had a fall. They say she's okay, but you need to come home. Now. Emily's face paled. The moment they were teetering on shattered before their eyes. The realization that everything they had been trying to rebuild might be now replaced by worry pressed in on them like an iron weight. I can't just leave, she stammered, looking between Jake and her brother. I was talking to Jake. Jake felt his chest tighten as he saw the glimmer of anxiety in Emily's eyes. Family comes first, he said gently. This time, it wasn't about holding on. It was about letting go. But what were you talking about? Mark pressed, a note of confusion in his voice. He glanced at Jake, assessing the man who still held Emily's undivided attention moments ago. Jake clenched his jaw, frustration mingling with understanding. It can wait, Mark. You're right. She needs to be there for your mom. Emily looked back at Jake, uncertainty drowning the resolve that had sparked between them. I just don't know if I can. Go, Jake urged firmly but softly. You don't need to decide anything right now. Just go. The waitress, having finished cleaning up the remnants of the earlier disaster, placed steaming cups of coffee on the table, unaware of the turmoil brewing just beneath the surface. The scent wafted through the air, a bittersweet reminder of warmth at the perfect moment. Jake, Emily began again, but the words faltered. Mark's tense expression drew her back. Let us get going. I'll take you, Mark urged, grabbing his sister's arm gently yet firmly. Wait. Jake's voice broke through the oncoming tide. Wait. Before you leave, can I just say one more thing? Emily paused, her breath hitching, eyes wide with hope and fear all at once. What is it? Whatever happens next, don't forget what we shared. He stepped closer, his heart racing. You're still the person I want. Don't shut that door. Not yet. Tears glistened in Emily's eyes as she absorbed his words, every syllable resonating with an echo of possibility. She opened her mouth as if about to respond, to find the thread back to their connection, but Mark tugged her gently again. Emily, come on. She hesitated, battle raging inside her. Would she choose the uncertainty of this new path, or would she cling to remnants of their crumbling past? I'll be right there, she called to Mark, though her eyes never left Jake. They were standing on a precipice, staring down into the unknown, and for a moment, the world outside the diner faded away. But just then, a loud crash erupted from the kitchen, followed by shouts. The diner shifted back into reality with the rattling noise. A fleeting glance exchanged between Jake and Emily spoke volumes of what could be and what might simply slip away. Maybe, she murmured finally, her voice trembling, betraying the confusion swirling inside her heart. Maybe what? Mark shot back as he turned around, urgency still dancing in his features. Emily took a breath, caught in that moment between the safety of family and the ache for something more. She glanced at Jake once more, their eyes locking, a silent promise forming between them. As Mark covered the distance towards the door, anxiety escalated in the small space of the diner. The clamor faded into muted whispers, uncertainty rising again. But Jake couldn't shake off the swell of hope. By the time Emily stepped into her brother's leading embrace, Jake felt the foundations shifting beneath their feet. And then, Mark turned back. Something in his gaze sparked with recognition. Wait, Emily, I think we should Mark, she exclaimed, cutting him off just as fervently. Let us go. The door swung shut, sealing off their moment, while another opportunity slipped from view. Jake leaned against the table, morose and hopeful all at once. Would their connection survive the chaos of life, or had they lost their chance once more? The sound of the broken plates still echoed in his mind, merging into the collective noise of the diner and leaving Jake to ponder the threads of fate now woven around them. As he watched the world spin beyond the glass, a thought gnawed at him. What if the real battle was yet to come? The door clicked shut with a soft finality, and silence enveloped the diner, heavy and thick like molasses. Jake lingered for a moment longer, anchored by emotions that collided inside him. He gazed out the window, the evening sky painted in shades of orange and purple, the sun dipping beneath the horizon as another day faded away. It felt symbolic, a day of possibilities slipping into the past. His phone buzzed on the table, snapping him from his reverie. It was Mark, a simple message that read, "We'll keep you updated." The void between brother and sister stretched wide, filled with unspoken words and uncertainties. What if Emily's mom needed more than help? What if she needed her daughter? The waitress, sensing the weight in Jake's heart, placed a second cup of coffee beside him. He gave her a weak smile, but she saw through it. The concern in her eyes only deepened his resolve. He wasn't done fighting yet. The connection with Emily hadn't been one-sided. The moments they shared burned bright in his memory. He thought about the way her laughter had filled the gaps in his tough days, how her presence could warm any room. Would she find those same comforts back home amidst family chaos? Jake inhaled deeply, emptying his mind of doubts. He needed a plan, something to reach for when it felt like the world had drifted out of reach. Shooting a glance at the vibrant sunset, a flicker of determination ignited within him. He took out his phone, fingers poised over the screen. He could message her, something simple, reassuring. But the moment felt too fragile, like glass too easily shattered. Instead, he hesitated, chewing his lip, considering what words might best convey the swell of emotions he felt. Suddenly, a loud bang jolted him back, drawing attention to the kitchen. The clatter of pots and pans echoed sharply. The commotion had increased. Smoky air wafted through the door as the staff rushed to solve whatever crisis unfolded. Curiosity pulled at him, and without realizing, he stood up, wandering toward the source of the noise. As he inched closer, a figure stumbled out from the kitchen, a chef waving a towel in frantic gestures. The wide-eyed man shouted, "Fire! Fire in the back!" Panic rippled through the room as customers clamored to their feet, voices rising in unison. Jake's heart raced as he moved to help, pushing through the crowd. He reached the kitchen doorway just as the staff began ushering people toward the exit. "Get the fire extinguisher," shouted one of the cooks, his face streaked with sweat. Jake's instincts kicked in. He wasn't going to stand idly by. He rushed toward the wall where the extinguishers hung and grabbed one, feeling the cold metal under his fingers. As he made his way back into the kitchen, something in him roared back to life. This was real. This was tangible. This was a fight worth joining. Just as the flames licked up the wall, darting orange and red, he pressed the lever, blasting foam toward the fire. The smell of chemicals filled the air, and as he fought against the blaze, memories of lighter moments with Emily flickered in his mind. They had both faced fires of different kinds, and this one wasn't going to take him down without a fight. With sweat dripping down his brow, he extinguished the flames, adrenaline carrying him through the chaos. The heat subsided, and he stepped back, panting, chest heaving with a strange mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. But in the back of his mind, one question lingered: what would he do when this storm passed? As sirens wailed in the distance, another thought crossed his mind. Would Emily still be there when the dust settled, or had he truly missed his chance? Just then, from the corner of his eye, he caught sight of a familiar figure emerging from the tumult, one that filled him with hope. Would she offer the stability he so desperately craved, or would fate play a cruel hand once again? Jake's heart raced as he squinted through the haze, trying to make out the figure emerging from the chaos. His lungs burned from smoke and exertion, but there she was, Emily, face framed by wisps of hair blown askew, eyes wide, holding on to the doorframe as if it were the only thing keeping her steady. "Jake!" Her voice was a mix of relief and fear. Seeing her sent a rush of warmth through him, cutting through the adrenaline that still thrummed in his veins. He stumbled toward her, still shaking slightly from the encounter with the flames. "You shouldn't be here. It's dangerous." "None of that matters. I was so worried," she said, stepping closer, her gaze flicking over him as if she were checking for injuries. For a moment, everything else faded away: the smoke, the fire, even the lingering tension about her mother's situation. "I'm fine," he insisted, glancing back at the kitchen, where the air still felt thick and smoky. I couldn't stand by and let them handle it alone." Those blue eyes held his, understanding flickering within them. "Jake, you're always rushing in to save the day." He chuckled softly, the sound almost strange in the aftermath of the chaos. "Maybe I just want to feel like I'm good at something." Silence hung between them, a thread of connection as real as the fire they had just faced. For Jake, it felt like a lifeline, and he wanted to grasp it tighter. The moment was pristine and vulnerable, a brief pause amidst the storm they were living through. Before he could think it through, he reached out and touched her arm, making her flinch slightly, then relax into his hand. "Emily, I need to know, how are you really doing?" Her gaze dropped, searching for words that seemed tangled in her throat. "I don't know, Jake," she confessed, voice thick. "Everything's so uncertain right now. My mom needs me, but I don't know what that looks like. I'm scared." He took a breath, keeping his voice steady. "None of this has to define you. You're strong, Emily. You've faced so much already. What if I can't?" She whispered, tears glistening in her eyes. The vulnerability in her expression struck him with a pang of urgency. "You can," he declared firmly, "but you don't have to do it alone. I want to be there for you, whatever that means." "No one has ever said that to me before," she replied, her voice barely a whisper. The sincerity in her eyes made his heart swell. "I mean it," he urged, squeezing her arm lightly. "You deserve support, someone who believes you can get through this." Just then, a loud crash echoed from the kitchen, jolting them back to reality. A fire truck screeched to a halt outside, sirens blaring. The sound sliced through their moment like a knife. Jake hesitated for a brief moment, glancing between her and the chaos unfolding outside. "Listen, let us take a step back and talk through this. Can we?" Emily nodded, but her expression shifted, uncertainty creeping in again like the smoke. "I want to, Jake. But what if it's too late? Before we answer that question, let us just breathe and figure out what's next," he replied, feeling a twinge of hope. They could find their way through this, one step at a time. But as the firefighters began to spill into the diner, a profound unease settled over him. What if the undercurrent of their embers was igniting a deeper flame, one that could consume everything? As Emily turned towards the clamor of the responders, Jake could only stand there, heart pounding, wondering if they were both ready to confront not just the chaos around them, but the complicated feelings brewing underneath. Would the bond they had forged survive the storms ahead, or would it shatter like glass? Emily's grip on the doorframe tightened as the firefighters burst into the diner, their voices shouting commands, the acrid smell of smoke almost overwhelming. She took a step back, breaking away from Jake's calming presence. Suddenly, the chaos felt bigger than them both. "Stay close," Jake said, moving in beside her. She could feel the warmth radiating from him, grounding her amidst the rush of urgency surrounding them. The firefighters shouted instructions, and the blaring sirens outside created a disorienting symphony of noise. Jake, her voice barely made it past her lips. She turned her head to meet his gaze, searching for comfort amidst the madness. "I'm right here," he assured her, the intensity in his eyes cutting through the surrounding pandemonium. For a moment, they stood together, caught in their own world, the frenzy of activity fading just slightly. But as the firefighters started organized chaos of their own, flinging hoses, shouting updates, Emily's anxiety swelled. What if they don't get it under control? She blurted out, her heart racing again. "What if, Emily, listen to me?" Jake's tone shifted, sharpening with purpose. "You're going to be okay. They know what they're doing. Just trust that they'll take care of it." A sudden crash echoed from the kitchen, and Emily flinched, instinctively leaning into Jake. "What is happening?" "That's just them working, part of the process," he said, though uncertainty played behind his words. But the way he held her made her feel safer, like a protective force against the chaos. His arm brushed against hers, igniting warmth in her chest, not just from the physical touch, but from the connection between them. Could this moment be a refuge from the turmoil outside? "We'll talk," Jake said, suddenly serious. "Once this is settled, we'll sit down. I need you to understand you're not alone in this." She nodded, but doubt crept in again. "I don't know if I can manage it all. What will happen with my mom? What if I fail?" He took a breath, catching her gaze with a fierceness that filled her with hope. "Emily, you won't fail. You're already doing everything you can. Look how far you've come. You've faced tougher days." Just then, a firefighter emerged and headed toward them, his face covered with soot, but his eyes shining with determination. "We're getting it under control," he called out. "We just need to ventilate the kitchen. No one else is inside. You're safe here." Relief flooded through Emily, the tightness in her chest loosening slightly. "See," Jake murmured, "it's starting to turn around." As more firefighters continued their work, Emily found her voice again. "Jake, I need to tell you something," but just as she opened her mouth, Another loud crash echoed from the back area. Their heads snapped in the direction of the noise, and Emily's stomach dropped. Anxiety shot through her like an electric current. Jake squeezed her hand tightly. "Stay with me. Whatever it is, we'll face it together." As the heat of the moment swarmed around them, Emily was struck by a fear deeper than the flames. Was she ready to share her truth? Would it change everything? The moment hung in the air, heavy with unspoken words. The question loomed. Could she reveal her vulnerabilities to Jake while so much still felt broken? As sirens continued to wail, echoing in the distance, one thing became clear: there was no turning back now. Would the truth bring them closer or unravel everything they had begun to build? Emily's heart raced as the crash reverberated in her ears, pulling her focus away from Jake. She felt the urgency to speak her mind unfurl inside her, a desperate need to share her struggles, yet fear knotted her stomach tighter than ever. "Did you hear that?" she whispered, her voice shaky. The flames roared like an angry beast behind them, a reminder of the chaos consuming their familiar diner. She pulled back slightly, her eyes darting around as if searching for a way out of the tension. Jake's gaze never wavered from hers, his fingers still intertwined with hers. "It's okay, Em. They're working. We're safe." His voice was soft but strong, anchoring her amid the storm swirling around them. But safety felt precarious. What if everything changed once the fire was out? Would Jake still be there to catch her when she fell apart? She wanted to show him the real Emily, the one with all the fears and doubts, but the shadows clung to her, whispering that her truth was too heavy to share. The firefighter who had approached earlier returned, urgency etched in his features. "We need everyone to head outside. We're going to do a full assessment once the smoke clears," he announced through the din. Emily glanced toward the back, where the chaos rumbled on, her heart pounding. "What if we're not safe?" she breathed, her fears spilling over. For a fleeting moment, Jake hesitated. Then he took a step closer, their faces inches apart. "You are safe, Emily. I promise. But we have to go now." There was no doubt in his eyes. Somehow, in that moment, she felt a swell of strength coming from him. Maybe the truth wouldn't unravel everything. Maybe it could bring light to all the shadows. With reluctance, she nodded. Jake took her hand fully, guiding her toward the exit, where the fresh air beckoned with the soft sounds of sirens and muffled voices outside. Emily stepped over the threshold, suddenly feeling the cool breeze brush against her heated skin, a reminder of the world that lay beyond the flames. Outside, the situation felt less chaotic. A group of people had gathered, murmuring anxiously as they witnessed firefighters working diligently. Emily searched for her mom in the crowd, but settled on the realization that her mother might still be dealing with her own battles. "Over there." Jake's voice broke through her thoughts as he pointed toward a cluster of people. She followed his gaze, spotting her mom stepping away from a small gathering. Relief flooded her as they made their way toward each other. "Mom," Emily called, breaking into a run. She wrapped her arms around her mother, sealing herself in warmth and familiarity. "Are you okay?" Her mom pulled back, worry flickering in her eyes. "I was so worried about you, sweetheart. I couldn't find you." "I'm fine," she breathed. "But we need to talk." Her voice faded, simmering under the pressure of the moment. Jake stood nearby, watching with concern, sensing the weight of what needed to be addressed. Emily felt the urge to bare her soul right there, in the cool air filled with smoke and fear, but a shyness held her back. As the firefighters continued to douse the remnants of the fire, Emily hesitated. Would this be the moment she chose to show Jake the real her, to lay bare every fear and insecurity? Did she have what it took to turn her swirling emotions into words? Just then, another loud shout erupted from the building, sending a ripple of unease through the crowd. "What now?" Jake said, confusion shadowing his face. Emily's heart raced again as the chaos inside seemed far from over, and not just the fire. A tumult stirred within her too. Was she ready to confront both the flames and the truth? With her mom at her side and Jake's unwavering support standing close by, the air hummed with unanswered questions. What would happen when she finally revealed everything? As the smoke billowed behind them, a knot tightened in her stomach. This wasn't just about the fire anymore. This was about her future. And for the first time, Emily felt an insistent pull toward the unknown. Would confronting her truth set her free or keep her trapped in fear? Emily stood beside her mom, heart racing, emotions tangled in a knot. The cool air outside grated against the chaos still swirling in her heart. She glanced at Jake, who stood slightly off to the side, his hands shoved deep in his pockets, but his gaze unwavering. The weight of their unsaid words hung heavy in the air. "Mom," she said, pulling herself back from the edge of panic. "We need to talk about everything about you, about me, about us." Jake's presence felt like a solid foundation, and for a fleeting moment, she treasured the comfort he represented. Her mom looked at her, worry etching her features. "Sweetheart, I'm here now. Let us just get you settled first. Your brother's inside getting updates." "No, Mom," Emily urged, pushing back against her instincts to shield her feelings. "I can't. We have to confront this now. I've been so scared I can't keep being that way." The muffled sounds of firefighters still battling the remnants of the fire echoed behind them. But in this moment, her voice broke through. She turned to Jake, her fists slowly unclenching. "I need you to know that I've been angry and confused. I felt like you left me alone in this without saying why you pulled away." Jake stepped closer, an earnest look in his eyes. "I never meant to make you feel that way, Emily. I thought I was protecting you, but I realize now I was just hiding. My fears about us got in the way of being honest." Her mom's eyes sparkled with unshed tears. "It's okay to feel overwhelmed. Life is changing, and we've all run from some hard truths." As Jake shifted slightly, leaning against the railing beside them, he looked between Emily and her mom, something flickering in his expression. "I want to help. I want to be real with you both, but I don't want to push you too hard." Emily nodded, taking a deep breath. "We can be scared together. It doesn't have to be a burden." In that moment, it was as if the entire world fell still around them. She felt a surge of strength from voicing her truth. The sense of community encircled them, neighbors gathering to witness the aftermath of the fire. Yet their focus remained on this critical cusp between recognizing their fears and embracing their vulnerable connections. "Mom, I'm terrified of disappointing you," Emily confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. "What if I can't keep it all together? What if I fail?" A softness enveloped her as her mom stepped forward, drawing her into a hug. "You could never disappoint me. It's okay to lose your footing sometimes. We're here for you, and we will work through this as a family." Jake took a step closer, the raw vulnerability in his gaze bridging the gap between them. "I'm ready to face this, Emily. I want to be part of your journey. I don't want to hide behind my mistakes anymore. I need you to know that I love you." Her heart shuddered at the weight of those words. "And I still love you, too," she admitted, feeling the warmth flood through her. Everything shifted, and a gentle resolve filled her spirit, an awareness that perhaps facing their vulnerabilities together could lead them to more than they ever expected. Mark emerged from the building, relief almost palpable in his expression as he rushed toward them. "Emily, Mom, I got some updates. Everything's under control, and it looks like no one else is hurt." As assured murmurs passed through the crowd like a breath of fresh air, it felt like a new chapter had begun, not just for Emily's family, but for the community that bound them together. She glanced at Jake, a radiant smile breaking through her worries, feeling empowered by the possibility of forging a foundation built on understanding, love, and the courage to face whatever came next, side by side. "Let us take the first step together," she suggested, her voice steadied with newfound determination. "Yeah," Jake echoed, hope lighting up his features. Together, the air filled with a sense of uncharted possibility, underscored by the quiet resolve to dismantle the walls they had constructed. As the bustling noise of their familiar diner receded behind them, Emily couldn't shake the feeling that the true test of their resilience was just beginning. The flickering flames from the past may have clouded their path, but together, they could illuminate the way forward. The truth was no longer a firestorm, but rather a guiding light, waiting for them just beyond the horizon. Now, it's your turn to make an impact. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you won't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Every click helps. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this. Ending your voice matters. And share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait, not even one more second. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.